Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Paul Hall, Chocolate Saying, 10th Man, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to hand over to 10th Man just so I can do a quick monitor of the live stream for the housekeeping question. So over to you, 10th Man.
Thank you, Nathan. So here we go. Any signs of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve?
No. Nope.
What happened to it?
Black swan.
Thank you. Love hearing that. Any evidence of Earth radius, the R value?
Same thing. Black swan.
Alberuni.
Alberuni.
All right. Man, Alberuni's been getting a lot of mention lately. Any reason why?
Because he was trying. Oh, I see it. He was trying to measure a refracted horizon, maybe.
Ah,
We've only got one
Yes.
horizon.
If that horizon was refracted, is it geometric? No.
anyone?
Yes?
No,
anyone
no,
in
it's-
Discord?
I'll let them answer, but I'll say it real quick. If it's moving, it's not geometric.
Is there any ballers in Discord that wants to comment? All righty then. Any evidence of axial rotation, Earth-based variety type?
We need an axis first, right? Oh, we need curvature, and then that
need
curve. We need the ball, and then the ball would have to have an axis.
We need an R.
Yeah, all goes back to that. That's unfortunate.
Hey, Owen, good to have you.
Yeah, good afternoon. Sorry for being late.
Irving.
Nay.
Well, just for Arwen, we'll jump ahead. Any evidence to the distance of the sun?
It's right over there. I can see it again.
Any evidence to the distance of the sun?
I don't know. I don't think it's anywhere.
We just said you see it over there.
Yeah, but that's just an angle.
All right, so the
I
question
don't
is the
think it's in the
distance. Any way of
position.
knowing the distance?
Right.
Can you
Well,
stop
I don't think
obfuscating
it
Arwen's
has a
doublespeak?
distance.
He's practicing.
Sorry?
You're practicing the dark art of doublespeak, are you not?
No. No, I'm really trying to approach more where I actually, how I do see it.
How can you approach
What?
it if it's not there? I'm only joking.
No, but it is over there, but it's more direction. Yeah, I guess that over there is not technically correct anymore.
See, that's not a bad question. How do you approach it?
You don't.
Exactly. You don't approach the sun. How can you approach the sun? We're not Icarus.
It approaches you.
No, but nothing approaches the sun. You could even see something virtually approaching it, but to its perspective, that sun would not be in the same spot as to the first observer.
Oh, come on. NASA touched the sun with their satellite. Come on, Erwin. They touched the sun with their satellite. Come on.
Well, that weird Bernie ball thingy doesn't look like the sun at all. So,
All right, moving on. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
that's a tough one.
Anybody from
I don't
Discord?
know. It was on the show yesterday.
This morning I caught Bob from Glowbusters again trying to face off with me, saying no, he has scientific proof for gravity. Just had to go there.
What was the scientific evidence of gravity? Hold on, I'll just do a quick shout out to this super chatter, and then if it's the scientific evidence of gravity, I want to hear it. Have we had that question already, 10th man?
I just read it. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Okay, we'll come back to you in a second, Darwin. Only 5 years after revelation of flat Earth, and the entire world descends into chaos. Coincidence? Question mark. Yeah, I'm going to say yes, James. But thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, correlation is not causation.
Seriously,
Well,
thanks
back
for
to
the super chat.
evidence for gravity. What did he say?
Sorry, hold on, 10th man. So
He didn't say a lot. He was just basically not accepting the necessary rigidity of the scientific method and just blah, blah, blah. It's dielectric, this, and yeah, we've proved. It's what Bob does. He doesn't have any scientific evidence. It's just building a model.
Okay, what do we mean by scientific evidence? We mean observation of a natural phenomena. So you see something happening and go, oh, I wonder why that happens. So then you formulate a hypothesis, and that would be the assumption of what you think, a speculation, an assumption, a supposition of what you think causes that effect. Now, the thing you think is going to cause the effect is what you will vary to cause the effect, otherwise known as an independent variable, that which you presume caused the effect. Now, the effect is known as a dependent variable. It's that which you're trying to figure out the cause of. Now, in order to validate your supposition of cause, you have to do an experiment. Now, an experiment is where you vary that which you assumed caused the effect to see if it causes the effect. And if it does cause the effect, then you validate it as the cause. If it doesn't cause the effect, you validate your null hypothesis, which is the antithesis of your alternative hypothesis. That is to say, if A, then B. I.e., if I vary and manipulate this which I assume is causing the effect, it will cause the effect. If A, then B. Now, a null hypothesis is if A, I vary and manipulate this which I think is going to cause the effect, then not B. No effect is caused. That would be you validating your null. So, regardless of what the outcome, you will either validate your alternative hypothesis and confirm that which you assumed caused the effect as the cause, or validate your null. Now, this method, called science, is, for that reason, empirical. Just so stories, on the other hand, regardless of how many contraptions they are given with, are not empirical. So that's why we ask for scientific evidence of gravity. If you're going to claim that this thing's real, we want to see scientific evidence of it. We want to see empiricism, not a little story. Sorry, go ahead, 10th man, if there's any more.
Yeah, there's more housekeeping, but can I comment on what you said there because I've heard this so many times and it's clearer and clearer each time. It's a very narrow method for that reason, right?
It's an extremely narrow method, yes. That's why it's empirical.
So,
if it was nice and broad, it wouldn't give you an empirical outcome.
Right. It's rigid like that specifically to keep it real.
Yeah, to keep it empirical. Correct. Exactly, Arwin.
One last part. Will you spend just a few seconds on the control variables?
Control variables are simply not an effect that you're observing or something which you assume causes the effect, but any extraneous things that you will hold constant. That's a control variable. It might be capable of variation, but in the example you will only be varying by way of the name, the title of it, the independent variable, i.e. stands alone on its own, independent of the control variables which will be held constant.
Thank you. Any single viable hypotheses from any of the fields of cosmology, astronomy, or astrophysics?
I've just got a relevant super chat from James. Sorry, Arwin, go first. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say not yet. You know, maybe in a million years.
James Richard, thank you very much again for the super chat. Much better comment. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I welcome all of your super chat comments. So James Richard says, or you could skip some of the scientific method to achieve that which you desired and still call it science. Yeah, that has also got a definition though, James. That's called pseudoscience, a claim of science where none really exists. Thank you for the super chat.
That's right. Anyone else? All right. Any evidence of self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Every time I hear it just starts sounding more Jules Verne, like from the ancient past. Nobody talks about it anymore.
Jules Verne, the guy that wrote The Time Machine.
He wrote a whole lot of things. He also went the journey through the Earth, by the way.
Yeah, Journey to the Centre of the Earth.
Yeah, and around the Earth.
Time Machine, H.G. Wells.
Is that H.G. Wells? Okay.
Could be mistaken.
Yeah,
I think Verne was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Could be mistaken about that too.
Notice we've gone straight from a question about the molten iron core to our descriptions of farcical fiction.
It's the only connection we can make.
Exactly.
Right.
There you have it.
It's like outdated fiction. Nobody really talks about it anymore.
Well, maybe they might want to try to get to 10 miles. Being that there's a core supposedly almost 4,000 miles down. Like, that's just ridiculous.
I just want to do a quick shout out to one of the commenters that just, I don't know why he makes me smile, but I really like this particular commenter. He's only a recent addition to the chat. Really glad to have you here. Speedreader 2300. The reason for his name I know as well, as I've chatted to him more in the comments. So he can read at 2,300 minutes of words per minute. So very fast speed reader, as you can probably tell by his name. I'll just read out his comment. Actually, pseudoscience sounds cooler than science. I'm going back to being a globetard. Thank you very much for your comments, Speedreader 2300.
Well, it's gonna be a lot colder, you know? Especially once you get to the real situation of the air all being sucked away very quickly, and then it's gonna get very cold. Right.
All right, rounding it off with the
hold on.
Okay.
You gotta read out Sean Hawkins' comment.
No more comments. Go ahead, 10th man.
All right. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon to give you the gas pressure?
No, it's a violation of natural law. Gotta have a container.
Right. Sean Hawkins in chat says, at me specifically for some reason, you guys say that there has to be a container, but the heliocentric model doesn't require one. So please show your container.
Is that a serious response?
That's Sean Hawkins in chat right now.
Let me just juxtapose that with, they don't need time to run at the same speed in Narnia.
What's a model?
Shows you.
Isn't that reification?
A model is something you would utilize if you have a limitation on a hypothesis.
So you can put anything on the model.
Yeah, models can be really useful. The problem only occurs when people reify them into existence. The map is not the territory.
Nah, Sean Hawkins got a model now. He doesn't need the real world anymore.
That's so. Time to post the model. Let's have a look at it.
Did they ever show them?
No. That was a absolutely priceless moment, which I credited Cathexis, because it was him that said it. I think he was talking to Jem Panda. This is 3 or 4 years ago. And they were talking all about their model. And he just said, can I see that model, please? And there was a sudden scrambling of no model being presented and justification for why and all the rest of it. But no, there is no model. Get them to show you a heliocentric model, and they won't have this all-encompassing model. It's just total nonsense.
Yeah, we've had that here. We've had different people say, oh, timeanddate.com and Stellarium. And it's like, yeah, those are your models? All right.
In reality, all the models are in their heads, and when you all put it together, they can always make something about it fit with one another. Overlooking that when you really put it all together, it doesn't fit at all. It just becomes a giant mess. But yeah, that's not what it's for. It's
NASA and SpaceX that give them all the models when they show them what looks like Power Rangers going into space. Like, I mean, those are the models, toy models, literally.
So hold
There's your
on,
models,
I'm
guys.
confused. I'm confused. You're telling me that there's no... Everything can go wrong, but 99% of the world believes...
Breaking up, Neil. Try that once more.
I'm saying 99% of the world believes this, and there's a model. And when you start adding all these things up, they don't add up.
Yeah, but they
everybody
haven't had that
believes
highlighted to them. 99% of the Western world have not the slightest idea that this is even a subject. I mean, that is changing. More and more people are becoming aware of the subject matter.
right. But a big problem in general with the globe idea and all that is it just takes a lot of work and tenacity to really follow through upon the model conceptions and figure out if it's all true. And most people just, it's too tiresome. And then, yeah, everybody around them, their colleagues, they get agitated. Like, why are you testing the foundations of our religion? Why are you being so contradictory? You know, that starts to happen. So that all demotivates people from doing that. And then, unless they're just brilliant, tenacious bastards that do it specifically for that. But yeah, most people, they just want to see pretty pictures, get told it's all worked out, and that's good enough for them.
Yep.
You know, I used to build a lot of models of planes and aircraft carriers and old cars.
I was hoping
it
you
was
would
fun.
say planes, trains, and automobiles.
All right, and don't forget Grandma on top on the wheelchair. Okay, so yes, I used to build those models as a kid. I spent hours and painted and just had a shelf full of them. Enjoyed it, just the intricacy. But they were all to scale. So then, if I saw the actual car and I had a model, they looked alike. Okay, so now if they say they got models, then why is it that they can't show gas pressure without a container or gas pressure next to a vacuum? Shouldn't their model also prove that?
Yeah, but they wouldn't need a model to prove that. If that was our reality, it would just happen. And we wouldn't even be talking about it.
No, what I'm saying is there was a car, say a 56 Chevy, and I bought the model for it. So I build it, and then I see a 56 Chevy, and I say, hey, it looks just like it. They say the Earth is next to 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum of space with an atmosphere that somehow is at the Kármán line and stays here and doesn't fill the available space. All right, well, show me that in the model. Show me a vacuum next to an atmosphere.
Well,
they can't even do that.
Hold on.
The problem with your analogy is, like, if you take the analogy of your model car, the model car doesn't show the internal workings of a combustion engine, for example. So that's where your analogy falls down there.
Well, not really, because it
I'm
has
just
actually
talking.
been shown. So Paul was quick to jump upon the pseudo-Mickwestian two-space model and demonstrate how, even when they model it, the gas still fills the space. So even when they attempt to show it, it doesn't work.
Yep. So
Can you
problems.
explain that one? I missed that one. What was that model? What were they doing?
Paul, you about? Okay, he's not about. So he used to put a picture of Mick West's model on screen where it's got like a blue ball that's representative of Earth with gas pressure. We've even got a slider bar for gravity. And Paul just stuck it on his computer and just left it for a day and a half. And all the gas dissipated into the space regardless of the settings.
Oh, that one. Yes, the gas with the lid, and he took the lid off. Yes.
No, not the lid. No, it was like a blue ball.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that one. Yeah. Yeah, and he left it on. Then we came back, it was all black. It was gone.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, yeah, I've left it on all night. The gas has filled the space. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, you can't model it. It's a violation of natural law. You're never going to model it. Anyway, just a quick shout out again to James Richard. Globetards look at the stars and assume the Earth is up there with them. True. In reality, the sun, moon, and stars are for the Earth, to bring light on the Earth, and for time and seasons as written. You know, the exact way we do use them. Thank you very much indeed for your super chat, James Richard. Really appreciate the support.
Nathan, I posted a GIF of that in Master B.
Yeah, it's beautiful chocolate. Thanks.
Perfect.
And the
timing.
gas
Thank you,
fulfilled
chocolate. I've got it on
the
screen. And the gas will fill the space.
All right, I stepped away for a moment and I got broken up on my sound. Were you talking about me?
We were just talking
Yes,
about how
we
you
were.
pounced. Go on, chocolate.
Now we were talking about the pseudo McWestian two-space gas model that failed even in their own model. I posted the GIF of it in Master B. You know the one. Hey, Paul.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, the one where I let
It's playing right now on screen.
Yep.
Yeah,
I've got it for the
I
audience.
let that model run for I think it was 38 minutes, and by the time I came back, there was no gas around it. Yeah, I remember that one.
So back to the guy before who wanted to interject about how the intricacies and stuff. Well, this is your man Mick West and his little simulation with his intricacies, and here's the gas filling the space. So there's your model.
And just so everybody knows, there was a force around that ball. He was supposed to be simulating gravity in that ball.
Ouch. Being that gravity is not even a force anymore. Sucks. And even with that presupposition, it still didn't work. Ouch.
Chocolate doesn't even do that. Sucks.
Ron is in chat asking why we switched off gravity in the simulation. I don't think.
Let me say something.
I don't think it is switched off.
Hang on,
No.
Armin, is he saying?
I'm the one that created the GIF. I'm the one that did the video. I did nothing to it. I just loaded the page with his settings. It was Mick West settings, not mine. I just turned it on and let it run. Be clear. So we did not turn off anything.
Just so we don't get into a discussion about how this model represents their claim that we have a violation of natural law for a sky, it doesn't alter that the sky cannot be a vacuum. Doesn't matter how they model it. Oh, so what if they present one that does work and the gas just hovers around partying at the Kármán line, not filling the space? I'll still point out that that violates natural law also.
There's a party at the Kármán line.
Yeah, man, those gas particles that don't fill the space, you know, they expand in all directions, get to the Kármán line and go, you know what, we should chill here. I'm not going to fill this available volume rapidly in line with gas law. No. The heliocentrists believe there's no containment. So I'm just going to chill here. Because obviously I need to be breathed in by a fundy zealot. So I'm going to just go back down again, maybe change direction arbitrarily, just because I've decided that I quite like it here.
And the gas police stood down because they didn't want to be sexist.
The gas police.
They burn their bras and gain some weight. Just remember that. That's what happened.
You're right. Nice.
Hang on. Gas
And gain
particles
some
matter. Gas particles matter.
Oh, jeez.
Bloody liberal gas particles.
Well, Mick West got a switch, so I guess gravity only works with a switch now.
Gravity's not a force. It makes no difference what they put in their model and assert gravity is when it's a conceptual medium being bent. Who cares? Oh, right, you say that translate to this model, do you? Oh, that's fascinating. You see how the gas is all filling the space? Yeah, that's entropy, that. This effect, that's entropy. That's real. That does happen. We can demonstrate it. Can you show it not happening? Oh, what's that? You're going to point at your sky and just plead your special pleading and assert your fundy belief that the sky is a vacuum standing in violation of natural law because you believe it's so. Oh, that's not going to wash.
What software was that simulation ran on, just out of interest?
Mick West's.
Sorry, repeat that, please.
Mick West's.
So do you think they're in on the conspiracy, like the globe conspiracy?
Anybody who perpetuates in on it yesterday or the day before yesterday.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they put
my
in
bad.
the
Sorry,
simulation?
my answer interrupted your next question.
Don't get angry.
Sorry,
Come on.
my bad. I didn't mean for my answer to interrupt your next question. My bad.
I think there's a bit of a delay.
That means shut the fuck up.
So you're getting
Shut
a
up!
delay.
Oi! Are you not getting the subtlety of me saying, my bad, I didn't mean for my answer to interrupt your next question?
Nathan,
you think that means carry on talking through me, do you?
Shout at me like...
Right, you're going to get removed real quick if you don't get the subtlety and now anger in my voice that you're interrupting me constantly. You asked me a question, I attempted to answer, and then you started asking a new question.
I want you to remove me, Nathan. Please.
I will if you don't shut up.
Dude.
I've just asked you
Where's
to
that
remove
switch?
me.
I'll remove him. Give me the switch. I'll do it.
I got a switch.
Why are you being a dick? What's the point in this
guy?
Why are you being a dick?
I'm not. I was answering a question I was asked, and then I got rudely interrupted by a complete prick. That would be you. Yeah? That's not me being a dick. That's me attempting to answer a question you asked, only to be immediately interrupted by the person asking. Yeah, that's not me being a dick. That's you being a dick.
You're ruining the show, partner.
I'm asking a serious question.
And I attempted to answer, and I immediately got interrupted whilst answering it.
No.
By you.
No. Yes. You interrupted Nathan as he was answering. Yes, you did.
Okay, we'll answer the
So now you think you can just make your demands? So you're going to act like a prick and then make demands of me? Come here. Get on your knees and suckle on my testicles. Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you on your knees? I'm making the demands here, right?
Suckle on your testicle.
Yeah, I demand it, therefore you must do it. I can behave like a dick and then make demands of you. Obviously those demands are totally unreasonable, right? That's why I've juxtaposed you sucking on my nuts with you demanding an answer. Totally and utterly unreasonable. After you've interrupted me and caused a disturbance, now I've removed him. He's a prick.
Well, that was interesting.
Why do they behave like that?
This is them sharing their pain, man.
There's a how do you put it? A sense of aggression in his voice every time.
Now, he wasn't planning to respect anyone here. He was just coming in to start a conversation. He thought it was just a general hangout. That's how he was talking. Like, he didn't even expect, like, what? You're angry because I interrupted you? Oh, come on. It's like ridiculous. Hello, this is the Flat Earth Debate Show.
I mean, we interrupt each other all the time, and Chocolate would say, I'm sorry, man, go ahead, 10th man, or I'll say, no, you, Chocolate. This guy, all he had to do is say, look, I'm sorry, go ahead, Nathan. But he didn't. He argued about his interruption. It's so stupid.
Right. Or we say,
It's
shut
like
up
they can't
and
even
pass.
have normal human conversation. So they just have to act like dicks. So go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, guys.
This is you guys sharing your pain.
I'm
That's
just going
fine.
to do a couple of quick shout outs. So, shout out to Bleeding Warrior. It says, Ranty sends his regards. It says, thanks for the shout out on yesterday's show. Made him $1,300 in super chats last night. You are ace too, Nathan. Well, thank you very much for the compliment, Bleeding Warrior. Really appreciate it. And good for you, Ranty. Hope you're doing well on YouTube. Also, shout out to Unitox Femu, who says, Sean never watched movie between 2 to 3 p.m. UK time. You said that yesterday, and I didn't really get it. I know that this show's running 2 to 3 p.m. UK time, but never watched movie between. Anybody follow that? Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Unitox Femu.
I'm still trying to figure out how you sent a regard.
What, there's a Flat Earth debate, the movie?
Yeah, I'm played by Kevin Costner. Does a really good English accent.
Next, there'll be the Flat Earth debate, the coloring book. Flat Earth debate, the lunchbox.
God, yeah.
Flat Earth debate, the flamethrower.
Yeah, but seriously,
Can you imagine?
get your bumper
Can you
sticker
imagine
here.
everyone
Oh,
going?
I didn't even see that one. That's a good one.
Hey, Arwen, I think you're onto something here. Can you imagine all the kids going to science lab or class at university with Flat Earth debate lunch pails? Silent protest.
Right, one more shout out. Sorry, Fractal Escape. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. It's a YouTube search. Quote: Voyager 2 discovers wall of fire at solar system's edge. End quote. Heliocentricity has a dome around the solar system, just like flat Earth. I don't know about the claim about our dome. We don't necessarily make that claim. We definitely have containment, though, so I'll take that as that. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Fractal Escape.
What they're saying is they're having a firewall. So we got an ice wall. We can't go beyond blah, blah, blah. It's too hard. And now in the heliocentric system, they got a firewall. So you can't go after a certain point, apparently.
I thought they took a position that space was infinite.
Yeah, their infinitely expanding universe may have a different rhetoric. The doublespeak of a model is easily changed. Anyway, another shout out to Unitox Femu, who's just clarified. Because he's obsessed with you. I understand. Thank you very much, Unitox Femu. Really appreciate the support. Yes, indeed, Sean Hawkins is incredibly obsessed with me.
Sean, why don't you come on the show one time, brother? I don't understand why
I'll
you're sitting in the bleachers.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I don't
No,
want him
you
here.
go
He's a
ahead, man.
retard. What are we going to do? Have him tell us that gas isn't water vapour?
Please do. Please do.
Right.
Come in
Want
here and
retards.
tell us that.
No, thanks.
Right.
Once they've
And we
demonstrated
got to
just
show
how...
our container because on the heliocentric model, they don't need a container, according to Sean Hawkins.
The model doesn't need anything. Like Narnia, it doesn't need an infrastructure for the coal mining. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't need it. Just doesn't need it. Doesn't need electricity. Why would it need Narnia, right? It doesn't need electricity. They survive without it. The goats go and gather the sticks. What's your problem? Doesn't need it in Narnia.
Remember that quote from thoughtcode.com? The reason they have a model is because there's limitations to their hypothesis. And also, if it's a model, you can constantly change the model to fit your narrative. So that's why they do a model.
That's why models aren't reality. They tell us about how the heliocentric world is our world. Well, no, it isn't. You can make changes to that world. You can't make changes to reality. Now, reality shows how your model's wrong, so you change your model to fit the real reality that we're actually faced with. Well, so what? So what? It's a work in progress to try and match it with our real world. Oh, well, that's fascinating. That's not reality, though. It's just a model. When you tell us it is the real world, it meets the definition of a reification fallacy, turning that which is just a model into the world you live in. The map is not the territory.
That brings up what the conversation a couple of days ago, I think Tetman was on there with Spider trying to do a sundial on a globe and flat Earth. Remember that?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that model. When I look at it, I didn't see it working. I just saw it on my phone. But that sundial was pretty massive. It covered the whole area of the eastern seaboard, pretty much, on both models. Is a sundial that large? Just a question. Just wondering. I've never seen a sundial that large. So how can you say a sundial not work on it when you don't even have the proportions correct?
Okay, I've seen plenty of sundials. You know, they might be 18 inches. I mean, I don't understand. I'm not following.
Sundial can be pretty big. I've seen. Remember that one that was a sundial like on a flat Earth thing that was that Mark Sargent showed in some of his shows earlier?
Yeah, but that's what 20 foot. Still not exactly massive.
Yeah, how big does it need to be? You know.
Well, my point was this: he was trying to model how a flat Earth would work, but he made the sundial.
Here, let me give some context. Let me give some context to that. So, it was on Emma's channel, and I can't remember his channel name, but it's a guy we've talked to before. And he has a computer modeling program, and he put in all the inputs, how sundial would work on the globe and how sundial would work on the flat plane. And based on his inputs and everything else, it could only work on the globe. And that's where Paul is addressing it at this point.
And I asked him right off the bat, I said, do you have all the variables to determine how things would function on either one? And he basically said, well, which variables are those? I said, that's not my question. I'm asking you. Did you do that? And obviously he said no. He said he counted for everything, the standard things everybody accounts for, but there's obviously other unknowns that you can't account for. But the other side of the coin was what I was pointing out earlier is even his own model didn't represent reality because sundials aren't as big as the eastern seaboard that I've ever seen. That's my point.
Yeah, that was the bit that I was like, eastern seaboard? What? Anyway.
Well, let me ask a question on this, Nathan, and maybe the panel and you can answer. So we've got buildings of antiquity that were set up to catch the sun coming through a certain sized hole at certain times of the year as the sun does its circuit. And to this day, they still work.
Sorry, are you going to back that narrative, 10th man?
Well, there are I think Brian's logic showed me a place where he's familiar with, where there's, when the sun at a certain time of the year comes, it shines through this one specific slot of this building that was built.
I know what stone circles and wooden circles are, but I'm asking.
Okay. I'm not familiar with it. That's why I'm asking the question.
Okay.
So my question is this: as the sun is doing its circuit, and in the wintertime is lower on the horizon for me here in Southern California, and in the summertime, obviously much higher, and the days are longer. It's going to affect any object like that or anything else differently. I've got a pole here that has like a tether ball. So it's just a pole. Now, I watch that pole as the sun goes overhead, and it's casting a shadow at different times of the day. So I don't understand why it wouldn't work on the flat Earth, I guess is my point.
Once Paul's finished his point, I'll point out the two fallacies that are being utilised, but I don't want to do it prematurely.
All right.
Basically, my point was his model was wrong, just right off the bat. Real simple.
Okay, fine. It's a false dichotomy and reification fallacy times 2. So, reification of flat Earth. Well, if you can present a model of flat Earth, therefore you make flat Earth real? Well, no. The Earth is obviously and observably flat. That's adhered to by both sides of the argument. Quote, Neil deGrasse Tyson, that stuff is flat. You're not going to see the curve of the Earth from 120,000 feet. The appearance of the nature of the world we live in is flat. Agreed upon by both sides. So it's not like I need to present a model to justify the obvious and observable nature of our existence. Nor do I need to justify where you insert an R value from that starting premise. The only difference to the maths we would use versus yours is you insert a presupposition of R. Other than that, the maths are the same. And in fact, identical when it comes to actually measuring the Earth. Your geodetic surveyors use Euclidean principles. So, yeah, Earth's flat. That's not even a claim. Obviously and observably so. Now, further to that, we have an extraordinary claim that it's a model. Which it isn't. That's a reification fallacy. The map is not the territory. Third time I've said it on this show. Now, we've also got another fallacy being utilised, which is called a false dichotomy. I've got these two choices for you. We've got A, this magical model on my left, and B, this magical model on my right. Now, whichever closely resembles the world we live in is going to be our world. So pick one. No, that's a false dichotomy. What about a third option? It's not a model. We're standing on Earth, not on one of these models in either one of your hands.
Yeah, that's pretty much how we told them. We said, you're working with a model, something that's not real.
Any Globers in Discord have that model by any chance? Anybody?
That's cathexis.
You mean the one with the X?
I don't know. Whatever one they got.
The X that's not there anymore? The one that's side-on profile that shows a big curve, but then when you're here, you can't see it?
Supposedly the X is supposed to be there somewhere, but apparently we've never seen it.
Well, why is it under side-on profile of that model? You see the X, and then we ask them to show it to us. We never see the X or the curve. I think the model's wrong.
Unless they want buildings to be obscured by it, and then obviously that horizon that we do not see, cannot be seen, isn't measurable, only visible if we sucked out all the atmosphere according to them, then it's blocking boats and buildings. So obviously it's a horizon that on one day can be a physical edge blocking boats and buildings, and on the next day every single fundy at trench level tells us with a hand wave, we do not see the geometric horizon. Except when it blocks boats and buildings and we need to reify this mathematics, then it'll be a physical sphere edge horizon.
Interchangeable.
No, we don't see a geometric horizon. We do have atmosphere. If you're going to assert that we've got a position that has a tangent point by way of an R value, then we're going to need to draw straight lines to it. And that simply isn't possible. At the moment, what's doing the rounds amongst the fundies is if you go up higher on a mountain, you've got less refraction. Need we remind you that you argue about gradients when we're not even going through any? You know, you've only got the air on the ground in front of you. And apparently when we've got the black swan image with the horizon only 1.2 miles away, in your fundy zealot model that isn't real, well, what, you're going to have very high levels of refraction at 1.2 miles at the same level, but yet when you're going through all those different atmospheric gradients, something that you might actually conceivably justify Snell's law, you're going to say there's no refraction for Al-Biruni? Oh, no. Oh, dear. Yeah, you keep punting that nonsense. Obviously, it's not been aired here, because we'd all laugh. Point out the error of their ways.
What I meant by interchangeable is they're not sticking to their model. So they're saying, well, the X would be there, but only if there's no atmosphere. But the X is there because it's blocking the bottom of boats. So which one is it?
Right, they're not sticking to their model. Gravity's not a force.
It's
clearly
whatever
says,
you need, whenever you need it.
Clearly says,
wow,
the imaginary axis is imaginary. Right on, Cleary. Thanks for the super chat.
Well, that was the question Spider Daddy said to you. And it's amazing because they're in this conundrum. Okay, I got a question, Nathan. How the gradient, why is there a gradient up there? And you said, oh, that's easy because gas is produced at ground level. I mean, it's such a simple, and then you gave the tea kettle explanation, which is so simple, but they trip over it every time.
Yeah. But look, the whole situation about why the gradient is there is a complex one. The thing is, though, that where they always want it to lead, which is gravity, is never going to be the reason for it, because gravity is not real. It's an aberration. It's a concept, and you can model it like that. Doesn't make it real, though, because you can't manipulate the effect that is gravity.
Arwen, when Nathan uses the bottle garden example with a gradient, why is that complex?
So it's because
No,
it's a good explanation as what is probably contributing to the scenario of the realm being the way it is, but it's not the sole reason. But we probably won't find that out. You know,
Okay,
it's too complex.
You're right.
The thing is, though, it's not going to be gravity. So
You're absolutely correct. But you're right. I leave it so open-ended that it's sort of vague. So if I have a juxtaposition in the same example, so I'll just verbalise it for the audience who may not have heard it. So you've got a kettle, and you're going to boil the kettle. And then you stick your finger over the top of the spout when it's boiling, and there's gas coming out of it, and there's a high concentration of gas, high enough to burn your finger right over the spout. Now, if you move your finger a metre above, then it's potentially not going to burn your finger because it's dissipated. And if you go a mile in the air, a mile away from the kettle, there's going to be virtually none. So it's going to dissipate the higher you go because it's being produced at ground level. Now let's boil the same kettle in a 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum and see what happens. Oh, we didn't even get to it boiling with electricity. It just immediately vaporised and filled the available volume. What do you know?
Yeah, I think it probably even vaporized and filled the volume before you even got to that low level of pressure.
Exactly, Owen, precisely.
You can never even test it.
Yeah, in other words, to have the kettle example in the first place, for it to form gas to burn my finger or see it dissipate, you must have the containment required for that process to occur. Now, if there was a vacuum, it would just fill the available volume. It would, at rapid, high speed, fill the available volume. That's what gas does. Well, no, it slowly dissipates because we've already got gas pressure here. Well, why have we got gas pressure? What is gas pressure? The force a gas exerts on the walls of a container. So we must have containment. Without the containment, there'd be no pressure, and my example with a kettle wouldn't have a beginning.
Interesting that the ballers sort of agree with that, but they use gravity as the container, a non-force force, which doesn't work.
Yeah,
Well,
I thought it was...
Conspiracy Cats didn't. He clearly said without the balloon there could be no pressure. He didn't say anything about gravity. He kind of played it off like he understood that you need a container for pressure.
Quote, Conspiracy Cats, 2019. Without the balloon, there can be no pressure. Is that correct? No, there is no pressure. That's right. I'll start again. Sorry, I misquoted him. Without the balloon, there is no pressure. End quote. Or, 2019, Conspiracy Cats. Without the container, there can be no pressure. End quote. Just want to get both the quotes right. That was all.
Yep. He said it.
So I thought Nathan Thompson was masterful with that Spider Daddy. For the opener, he set that up beautifully. So he asked the guy to describe a helium balloon going up into space and the process of it exploding and the gas filling the space. And the guy more than happily went through describing it. And then he just said, well, Earth's got gas, like the balloon had gas. Why isn't Earth's gas doing exactly as the balloon did? And the answer is, it would if the sky was a vacuum.
Wait, he actually asked that?
Yeah, Nathan Thompson's a smart guy. You know, he's not out and about demolishing people for no reason. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he said, if I remember correctly, he said, well, where the atmosphere is right next to the vacuum, why isn't it happening like the balloon right there?
Exactly. I'm going to give a quick shout out again to Unitox Femu. Amoeba, fish, bird, dinosaur, monkey, human being, Aristotle, Biruni, Galileo, Kepler, Newton, Einstein, Hopkins, then God, then Rumpus, all in one. Chaiki. Thank you for the super chat, Unitox Femu.
What does that mean?
Wait, all Chaiki? I think that's a little bit much credit for that guy. But,
Come on, Chocolate, let me hear it.
Hear what?
It's coming.
Okay.
Busy.
He's obviously busy.
Yeah, he'll come.
You're waiting for me?
Yeah, chocolate. We mentioned Chikey, and I said, come on, chocolate, let me hear it.
I didn't hear you. I had a coworker talking shit. Hey, Stimpy, you idiot.
I love it.
Neil's got one too. Neil's got an impression of Chikey. Oh no, he's busy as well. What about the gradient? Maybe.
Gradient, Nathan. The gradient. You idiot.
I think Neil's got an audio issue.
You idiot.
We're not hearing him. Anyway.
I got one. Gradient. How about the gradient, Nathan?
I just did that.
Why are you being so angry? I'm just asking about the gradient.
So for the audience's benefit, the strawman argument to the question, how can you have gas pressure without a container, is to say, how can we have a gas pressure gradient? Now, a gas pressure gradient is a delta of gas pressure. In other words, you can't have a gas pressure gradient without a container either. It's still gas pressure. Strawman argument. Is it strawman or is it red herring? I always get those two confused.
Second one's a bit fishy.
Strawman, I think. Oh, don't forget the other classic. Don't forget the other classic, guys. On a flat Earth, you would not see a horizon.
That's worth qualifying as well. So the reason you get fundamentalist religious zealot globetards asserting that we wouldn't have a horizon on a flat Earth is a tell. And the reason it's a tell is because in their heliocentric worldview, they turn what we see, so this isn't a picture, but if this was a picture, you've got your eyes being used, or the camera's eyes, if you will, seeing what's in front of us. Typical, it's bloody planetoid setting. Terrible picture to make this example with. Anyway, it's just a picture. You can't see yourself in this picture. You don't appear in it because you're taking the picture or you're looking at it. However, in their religious worldview, what they do is they take that image and they flip it 90 degrees, and that's called orthographic view, fondly referred to by us as Muppet vision, because you see the side of your own head in the observation suddenly. Now, what that does is it removes perspective. So then what they do is they draw a curve and draw a tangent to the curve and say that the tangent point is what's obscuring things in the distance, ignoring all aspects of perspective. Now, when you remove the curve, you then end up with two parallel lines. The line of the ground that you're standing on, your own head in shot, which wasn't in the picture, and then a line that's drawn from your eye to the other side of the page. And the two do not converge. Well, in reality, they do. Train tracks converge in the distance. But in orthographic view, these two lines don't converge because they've removed perspective. So when you remove Earth curve from their maths that removes perspective, they're left without a horizon. And therefore they believe that because their perspective hijacking maths is left without a horizon if they remove Earth curve, the only assertion of things disappearing into the distance, then we don't have a horizon. No, you only don't have a horizon when you remove your Earth curve from your perspective hijacking curve maths. It's ludicrous to assert that we don't have a vanishing point. Oh my God. These people are idiots.
Yep.
I.e.,
no matter how many
come we
times
can't-
you explain it to, they, like Chikey still afterward just brought it up just like that. And
When I first
everyone should know better by now.
recall hearing that on your show, it was something to the akin to this. Well, if Earth was flat, then how come I can't see New York from England?
Too small.
What?
Too small. On there, again, in their mathematics, you draw a line that's flat with you standing on the left side of the page. You draw New York on the right-hand side of the page. Not to scale, but you can draw a line between the two and write 2,000 miles on it. or 5,000 miles on it, or 10,000 miles on it, or 1,000,000 miles on it. And those two lines, the ground line and your line of sight, will never converge. So they think you can see New York from England. No, it's too small. Things converge into the distance at a vanishing point when they reach the angular resolution limit of your eye or camera, and then they're too small to see. But your maths only has one assertion, which is the Earth curve's blocking it. And what's it blocking it with? The horizon that we never see. Yeah, your model's dead. We do have a horizon. Perspective is real.
That's right. And there's one step more, of course. There's also there is simply a sight limit to how far we can effectively see, no matter how high up we are. At some point, the light going through the air is gonna blur up, and you will see a wall of background, gray or blue, whatever the color is gonna be, and you won't be able to see even huge mountains over vast distances. You might be able to scan them, but you won't be able to see them because your sight will just blur up.
So what Arwen's describing is sort of, if you've got a particulate matter, it doesn't matter if it's dust or debris in the air, that a meter, you're not even going to see. It's going to be practically invisible. And I've actually demonstrated this. I did a video about it, and I did it with glasses, so old glasses that have been scratched in the dishwasher. And you look through one with a camera, and you can hardly see any scratches at all. But you line up 5 of them, and suddenly you can hardly see through it, because all of the particulate matter, that's an analogy with scratches on a glass, is built up over distance. So the particulate matter is also another contributing factor. See Tim Osmond's list of all of the excuses flat earthers make for Earth curve, because they only have one assertion, but the list of things that actually occur are just labelled excuses by flat earthers. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. If you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley or Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. As I say, if you're watching this live, though, this is where we bid you farewell. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Massive thanks to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!